All right, guys. Welcome to the Crush Core Real Estate Hour. I am your host, Dean Harris. I have got Douglas Skipworth with me again today. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, man, doing great.
Douglas was with us last week on our zip code breakdown. He is our CEO, owner, stepdad, whatever I can, I can call Douglas is what I'll do, man. Mentor, helper, leader. He's a whole lot of things to us. So yeah, we're happy to have him in here today, and we're going to talk part 2 of our zip codes. Last week we had. Let me give you this. If you have any questions, email me, dean@crushcore.com. You can go to the website, www.crushcorerealty.com. You can check out all of our stuff there. You can check out this podcast on Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, anywhere you find your podcast. It'll be posted when this show is over. All right. We were talking about zip codes last week.
Yes.
We have
southern part of the county.
Southeastern part of the county. We had a lot of positive things to say.
Yeah.
Those zip codes are areas where you and I both own in, and they're both successful. It was a lot of happy times, a lot of great conversations about where you need to be and what's so great about those areas. Today is going to be a little bit different. We've got a couple of these that are not bad areas to be in at all.
But we've got my very favorite.
Some of the very where you own a lot in, and I own several in, but we're going to talk about some areas that are not so hot as well. Avoid. And I know this is, I hate to use absolutes on here because nothing is just a lock dead absolute.
Sure.
Can you make something work in one of these negative zip codes we're going to talk about? Of course. I'm trying to run with the percentages and run with the crowd. Yeah. And historically, some of these areas are not great. Let's dive right into it. Today, we're going to start with 38126. Tough market.
Yes.
Cheap houses.
Very.
Extremely high crime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is an area where this is right. It's the FedEx Forum area, but it's a little south of FedEx Forum. And if you get 3 or 4 streets over there, man, it is brutal. I think I didn't bring this fact, but I believe this is one of our lowest or highest poverty rated zip codes in our city. It's just a tough market. Let me give you some details, and then I want to get your opinion because I know you've got some experience. These numbers are from January 1 through July 31st of 2021. There's only been 15 sales. Average square size is 1,900 square feet, so that's good. And the average price has been $86,000. And here's what I'm afraid of with that $86,000. I'm afraid that you've had some either turnkey providers or investors go in there, fix something up, and sell it to someone that is unaware, because there's only been 15.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some redevelopment, some new construction, both multifamily and single family. It's a small zip code. Mm-hmm. It's maybe in transition, but I think where you were going earlier is I think the cons still outweigh the pros.
I think big time. I don't even we're going to talk about another zip code where it's
close,
not as,
right.
But I think here we're way lopsided.
Yes.
Way lopsided. So, just an area I would think to stay away from. I don't want to say, hey, you can never make anything work, because the first thing that's going to happen is somebody's going to email me and be like, hey, I got a home in 3126. It's been great. And
absolutely.
You, as that specific property, that might be the case. I just try to go with our percentages.
They're generalities, stereotypes.
Yeah, and it's a struggling zip code.
It's a challenge. They're just other opportunities. Why go with the challenge when you have better opportunities?
That's what I say. If there's something else that's out there, there's no reason to force the issue here. Your spreadsheet might look great here, but it's fool's gold. You're going to hear me say that a lot today. So 38126 is not an area we would suggest go to. If you have that specific house you want to ask me about, I'm happy to look at that one specific property. But overall, I don't think it's there. Let me give you some. They don't even have any foreclosures because there wasn't any. Okay, that's 38126. Let's move. We're going to bounce around a little bit. I'm just going to work up on my sheet. 38122. This is a great one. Okay?
Yes. Oh, man, love Berkeley.
Love Berkeley myself. I'm over 10. I don't know. I think you're over 200. You got a ton.
It's a lot.
You're invested in that market.
Favorite.
Yeah, favorite zip
Memphis.
code. I I really enjoy the tenant base. I'm gonna give you some of these numbers real quick, and then we'll dive into it. So from January 1 to July 31st of 2021, 451 sales, massive transaction zip code. 1,279 is our average square feet, and the average sales price, 103,000. 790, right under 104,000.
Yeah, probably 50 a few
50
years ago.
old. Yeah,
I mean, 50-year-old,
yeah.
but it was probably $50,000 10 years ago.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't pay over 50 for any of mine that I bought just 4 years ago. So, I mean, it's really taken a jump. Now, Hispanic dominant community, high community pride.
And so much other stuff happening, as you know, on the fringe. You got Starbucks coming, you got Chipotle coming, you got Chick-fil-A coming. So, again, I think I've heard you say, let those big international companies do your research. Like, why are they going into these neighborhoods? What do they see?
What do they notice and what do they see? I don't ever want to base my investing off Chick-fil-A.
Right.
You and I laugh at this, but there's some substance to it.
Sure.
A block and a half away, they just opened up a restaurant a month ago. They're not putting. Have you ever been in Chick-fil-A and there wasn't a line? Right. You ever been at there's no Chick-fil-A's closing because they're not busy. So they're not putting restaurants in areas that are not going to be busy and thriving and growing. And you said it too, Chipotle and other national name brands are coming in here.
And a lot of young civically minded, community oriented folks are moving, buying, renting, owner occupants, you name it, fixing up. There's a lot happening. You can still find some good deals.
Yes. Berkeley is an area that I would definitely suggest. Foreclosures.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, really. Only 4 foreclosures. Solid area.
Super solid.
67,000 was that number of average that they foreclosed on, down 67%. I can't say enough good things about it. Our office is right across the street from the zip code, or it's in it.
And rents are going up.
Are shooting up.
Yep.
Used to be you could rent a 3-1 for $650, $700. You're at $800 and $850. Easily
pushing. And I mean, I think there's some. I just pulled some data. I mean, I think you're getting some over $1,000 in certain areas there.
From a property management standpoint.
Houses renting for over $1,000 in 38122.
Did you ever think you'd see that when you guys started buying 20 years
huge
ago?
houses, 5 3s, 5 2s, 4 2s, but 3 2s, 3 2s. Yeah,
that's insane.
3-1 for $1,000.
Hot market. If you bring me a property, or if I shoot you one in 38122, if the numbers make sense for you, I jump on it. It's an area you're going to have some success with if you stay with it. So Berkeley's great. 38114. This is Orange Mound.
Historically, Orange Mound. Yeah.
Yep. Tough.
Challenge.
Really tough tenant base. And
you crush core on the property management side. Manages, we're not afraid of challenges. We prefer the easy, we prefer layups to half court shots, but we'll do it.
Great analogy.
And so you're looking at over 50 in that zip code, with the average rent being about $550. So if you've heard me talk to investors, I don't ever tell you to buy anything that rents below $800 in Memphis. $750 if it's a good area, Berkeley or something. I think that's okay. Yeah. But if you're anything else, I think you're setting yourself up for disappointment, for loss, financial loss. Let me give you the numbers. From January 1st to July 31, 293 sales, if you can believe that. 1,300 square feet. Average sales price is $73,000. It's in an area. So 38114 rubs up to 38111. Yep.
38111 we're going to talk about is our largest zip code.
Yep.
So I think you have some room to show a property that's in good shape and in good, but when you get boots on the ground, you get over there, it's in a rough street, a rough pocket.
And there's a sliver that's the edge of Cooper Young.
Yes.
And so there's some good stuff happening in that sliver. So
it's 2 or 3
things.
streets.
Yeah,
it's not a lot.
No.
Yeah.
But it's got some potentially skewing numbers. But anyway, they're again on the one off. Maybe you can find something, but as a whole,
I play these percentages.
Play the percentages.
There's no reason
There's
that you
other
feel
opportunities.
that you have to go, especially if you're spending 73 grand, I mean, which is the average over there. We can definitely find you a better property for $73,000 than you can get in 114.
And we've seen, again, we've done some underwriting on a lending business and have seen some action in 38114.
Yeah.
People coming in, buying them low, putting some good rehab in there, and then selling them in that $75,000 range.
Yeah, and look, this time next year when we do this again, we might have a different opinion about it. I don't know, but it's not one of these that I'm hearing, oh wow, this is improving so much, it's going to be a lot better in a year. I'm just not hearing that. I'm hearing I'm struggling over there. I'm having a tenant move out every 12 months. I'm doing $5,000 in rehab every time they move out. It's
and
one of those
rents. The rents don't justify
No.
that type of rehab and that type of work.
38114, guys, it's tough. I'd stay away. 38112. I'm gonna let you talk a little bit on this. I'm not as versed in 112. Rhodes College is a great area. Let me give you the numbers and then I'll let you talk. 229 sales, 1,599 square feet. And 181,000. That can be a little misleading because there's some higher end sales in 38112.
Yeah, again, I'm pulling some property management data around the 50 plus on the management side, $750 rent. And again, you mentioned it. This is kind of in where Summer Avenue hits North Parkway, Trezevant, Hollywood, in that area. Again, it's as Memphis is street to street, there are certain this is quintessential, right? Like Rhodes College, you got people coming from all over the country to go to this elite private school.
Yep.
And then there's probably some in this zip code that are renting for, $400 or $500, maybe $500, kind of the low point. Yeah. Maybe you could get $1,000 for some of the nice little homes right there, closer to Summer and Rhodes. So it's a interesting area, broad avenues, seen some redevelopment.
We go down there and eat.
Yeah, it's a cool spot, but it's a slow transition. So if you find something great, if not, I wouldn't. I mean, unless you can kind of get it and find a little honey hole where you kind of make this your spot. It's, again, other opportunities. There's some stuff happening, but the path of progress is maybe other places.
It's the classic, in my opinion, when people talk about Memphis, they say, oh, it can be street to street. This area is the classic example of, hey, you might find 2 or 3 streets in a row that are fantastic, and then you got one over here that it changes completely. So I do think
because it gets pretty wide from Summer all the way, probably kind of almost to National, coming back east, and so it varies.
Too much uncertainty, in my opinion.
Too much uncertainty, in my opinion.
Yeah,
completely.
Now
agree.
I do think this is an area where in a year and 2 years we come back. Hey, this is developing a little bit more. We've got a little, more
it's
positive
different
things
than it
to
was
say.
5 years ago. Different than it was from say 15 to 5 years ago. That 10 years, it was pretty the same, and it's just inching. It's inching. It's not flying.
No.
So
we could be looking at it, but I would say, hey, if you find something in 112, send it to me. Let's look at that specific house and street. We can make a decision on how we move forward. Okay. Next is 38111. It's our largest zip code that we have. It's probably our largest gap in value. It is our largest gap in tenant base because there's a higher tenant base and a lower one. We have Sherwood Forest that's in 38111 is what I would consider the sweet spot in 38111. I'm going to give you some numbers on it real quick. From January 1 to July 31, we've had 754 sales. That makes sense. It's the biggest zip code. 1,489 is our average square feet. This one is deceiving. 179,000 is our average sales price.
Well, you got High Point Terrace.
High Point Terrace is those are all 400 and up.
Yeah,
right?
Great. And we manage some. And so to your point, you're over by the University of Memphis, north and south of the university, I would say.
Yep.
And you can have properties ranging. We manage 100 plus over there. 825 is the rent, but you can get as low for a duplex in the 500 range.
Yeah.
And as high as I've got one here for $2,300 in High Point that we're managing. I mean, it's a
Right.
nice 3-2.
High Point's fantastic.
It's
I
great.
mean,
It's a lovely area. It's a
right. Great to live in there. But if you're getting below Park, south of Park, I do think it's one of these things where they're going in and redoing homes, right? When I say south of Park, I mean drive Park Avenue, go all the way over to go all the way over to Getwell, and go south to 240. And then if you're going east on Park, go all the way, I guess, till it runs into 114, which is what, Highland, that area right there.
probably Sims, but yeah, I was just past the Highlands. But yes,
in that area, and go south to 240. If you get too far south this is very specific, but I mean, this is the way the zip code goes. If you get too far south, you're in trouble. The houses aren't in good shape. The tenant base is not strong. You come north up 4 or 5 streets. Now you're in Sherwood Forest, and you're stronger, and you're closer to Park,
closer to the university.
I mean,
the University of Memphis is just constantly pumping money into that, tearing down buildings, redeveloping it. Highland Row, Highland Strip.
I don't know how true this is, and maybe you can tell me. I do know that the school purchased the golf course, which is at the corner of Audubon Golf Course, which is at Park and Goodlet.
Yep.
Okay. You keep going west on Park, you're going to cross over Getwell and Park. From what I read, I'll have to bring this in. I probably shouldn't say this. I'm understanding that the school is trying to buy over the next 30 years all of those homes.
It wouldn't surprise me because they have that South Campus right there. They put a huge nursing school there. They got all their athletic facilities there.
Every athletic practice facility is there,
and it's beautiful.
It is,
and
incredible.
They just did in Audubon Park. They're building a $20 million tennis facility. So there's great stuff right there. So the university's not going anywhere.
No.
So that's a good to be around there. So there are some institutions in that area, churches and schools.
Yes.
So it makes sense if you find the right place.
Take the Getwell and Park T, and the southwest part of that, going southwest, is where you're hitting Sherwood Forest. You're hitting some of those areas. I would say, yes, that's positive. Let's look at each individual house, because you can run into a bad street over there. But I'm real high on that 38111 Getwell Park southwest kind of area until you get to where you're going too far south to 240, which makes sense if you think about it. Like, the house is right up next to the interstate.
Like, who wants to be
no one wants to be there. So you go several streets up, and it begins to immediately get a lot better. So I'm really, I send out, if you're on my list, and I send out a ton of 3811 houses. Obviously, it's the biggest zip code. I send a ton of them out. 2 bedrooms are okay in 38111. You don't mind those? 2 bedrooms are fine. There's 2 zip codes that I don't mind a 2-bedroom. Berkeley, and 38111. So, good news for 38111. Happy for that area. If you have anything, we can keep that. I think it's solid. I'll be happy to run the numbers for you. 38108. Let's move on. 38108. Let me give you the stats real quick, and then we'll dive. Hate to be so. I mean, like, today's just a day where we're covering the areas and giving you our opinions. I mean, I guess I should have mixed in some positive and goods, but this is what it is. And I don't,
you're going to give your stats, but I'm going to tell you from a property management standpoint, there are 50 plus houses we're managing there, and the average rent $650. So to me, it's all about the average rent, right? The higher the average rent, the
better the quality.
And the lower the average rent, the harder it is when you have a turn. You hate to make money for a year and then give it up, or make money for 2 years and give it up.
And give it right up.
So that's why I like
222 total sales from January 1 to July 31st. 1,100 square feet is the average, and $50,000 is the average sales price. To me, that falls right in line with what I thought. Your 38108 is northwest of 38122.
Nutbush is
kind of what they call
the Heights.
Yep.
So
Chelsea Avenue, Chelsea Avenue in the Hollywood area is areas I would run. I'll be honest with you, I don't even like driving over there. It's just tough. The crime at that corner. I mean, literally at the corner of Hollywood and Chelsea, it is.
There's not a lot of commercial activity. There's not a lot of through traffic.
There you go.
So
there's a good word. Through traffic.
So it's just a little off the beaten path. So it's just outside of the path of development right now.
Yeah.
So,
if you're on Chelsea Avenue and you're traveling, the further east you go in Chelsea, the better. The further west you go in Chelsea, the worse it gets.
Until
you hit downtown.
It's seen its better day.
Yeah.
And will it revive in the next 50 years? Maybe. I don't think anytime soon. And again, we have options, so there's no reason. There are other places to go that are seeing more economic
North
activity.
of Chelsea, that Jackson area, it's just tough. I mean, I'm seeing, believe it or not, I'm seeing some houses being sent out and being sent to me over in that area.
Yeah.
If it's a brick and it's a 3-2, and if it just had if there's
people, the thing about it is people have to live.
For sure.
And a lot of people have to rent. And
yeah.
So there you can find a diamond in the rough.
Yes, you can. But why search for that diamond when I've got a whole bag of diamonds in other areas I can hand you is kind of my point.
Completely.
Yeah.
Rubies, sapphires. I mean, you got all these jewels to choose from. Are you looking for,
Why are you going to dig?
You're going to dig or looking for a needle in a haystack to mix metaphors.
Box
it's like,
of it. Yeah.
It just is tough.
That was 38108. I'm going to do North Memphis here, 38107. Because of this can be medical district. This can be
North of Rhodes College.
An area you'd run from.
It can be Speedway Terrace. It can be Evergreen, Klondike, Valentine, Rhodes, a little bit north of Crosstown.
Those are great areas. I don't mind the Crosstown in those areas specifically.
But they're all north, so it's like
north.
it's a mixed bag, right? It's pushing 50-ish on property management side, $650 rents, but that can be anything from as low as $500 to $1,300, $1,400.
So to that $1,300 point, from Jan 1 to July 31, 233 sales, 1,500 square feet is the average, 132,627 is our average sales price. Crosstown is driving that area.
Yep. People are trying to redevelop, reposition things, houses, properties.
Bungalows 2 years over there. 3 years ago, bungalows would go for $40,000. They're $100 now. So I do think that area, and it's okay if you differ with this opinion. I do think that area in 5 years is going to be dramatically different than what it is now. I think Crosstown, those streets that you named are areas that will redevelop.
They're trying to
they'll flip that over. Yeah,
they're trying to. So people are pushing it north when we're seeing people fixing and flipping up there. So but again, it's
cautious.
It's cautious and I mean, you're talking in zip codes changing. I mean, you can. How am I trying to say it? It's just like, you might have some things. It's maybe like a distribution curve, right? Where it's like out here on the edges, like something's happening, but man, there's still a big soft middle that is not going to change anytime soon. So
that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some sexy sizzle over here.
Yeah.
So, but
there's also a core base of it that's no good.
That's just tough.
This is so classic, street by street.
Memphis, and that's a lot of Memphis.
But I mean, we're covering the zip codes today that we're referring to with that. Like
that's right. Because they're. I mean, if you took the map, it's like it's the center of the city. These houses are.
Yeah.
They can be 100 years old. I mean, these are 1920s, 1940s houses.
And the rehab on those, if they tell you it's 25, you can bet it's 35 because you're going to find something else in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you just need to prepare and budget for that. If you're a brand new investor, if you don't own any rentals and you're looking for, this is not an area where I would say, hey, let's go try it out. It just wouldn't, because it can go bad. I mean, you could run into a bad situation here, and then you'll be out of investing. And it's just, if you had 20 and you found something over there,
sure,
hey, give it a shot. You're used to it. Something will fall apart. You can make it happen. You're in business. If this is your first or second, I'm not taking you over to 38107.
I don't think so.
I'm just not.
Yeah,
no.
Not for me.
38106, West Person, Elvis Presley-ish area, but don't get it confused with 38116. 38106 is north of there.
South of 126.
South of 126, closer to the river, 240 gauge. Is that
I think Stacks
gauge?
Maybe is in 106. It might be in 126. I think it's 106. And it's South Memphis,
One of the areas, if somebody emails me and says, hey, where do you stay away from? 38126 and 38106 are on that list.
Yeah. Again, here's some stats. You're talking $500 average rent. As low as I saw a duplex on here. $226.
I
Like a 200, so less than $450, $452 for a house. I mean, that's just,
you couldn't give it to me.
I wouldn't take it.
If you came to me and said, "Here's the deed, I'm gonna sign it over to you. There's a tenant in there paying $225 or whatever. Here, you can have it." I'm not signing it. I don't want it.
I mean, how much is a roof going to cost?
Yeah, you're never gonna make any money.
5 years
Never.
worth of a rent to pay for the roof.
And
It's just tough. It's just not. Again, it's looking
when
at
you break it down like that, it's like what I'm.
you. So it's like, why go for why again? These rents drive a lot of the zip codes. The
Here's
average.
the
There's
numbers.
a reason for it.
You hit the nail on the head here. 228 from January 1 to July 31. 228 sales, 1,289 square feet, 46,141 is the average sales price.
Not surprising.
That means there's a ton of $25,000 sales.
Yeah.
Which is no. Stay away. Stay away from 38106. All right, let's move to Midtown 38104. Let me give you the stats and we'll go. 329 sales from January 1 to July 31st. 2,100 square feet's the average, and 305,000 is our average sales price.
They're $1 million homes, but they're probably $2 million homes in that sale. There's some nice properties
real estate.
in
Central
104.
Gardens.
Yes.
Memphis Country Club.
U Club, just really cool stuff
U
down
Club,
there.
yeah. What's that? Lamar and Central U Club, University Club. So,
But
so here's, let's talk Midtown for a minute. Airbnb plus,
yes,
flip can
potential.
be.
Oh yeah.
But here's what I'll caution you on flips. If it's the house is 100 years old, period.
Yep, of course.
If they tell you it's 60 grand, it's going to be 85 to 90
On the rehab. Yes.
No question about it.
Yeah.
You're going to get in.
There are going to be surprises.
There's going to be a surprise.
But they're really not surprises if you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're doing.
You plan for the unexpected.
Right.
So, plan for it.
There are no shortcuts, Douglas, or it would just be the way.
Yeah. Right.
So you're going to run into higher rehabs than what you think.
Yeah. But we're managing 40, Crest Core Property Management's managing 42. Some apartments over there, and they're $1,000. Total is average rent. So, there's some nice, the Midtown is a hip place.
Yeah.
It's between East Memphis and downtown. It is in the path. It has seen a ton of redevelopment over the past 15 years.
And if you live in Midtown, the truth is our Memphis is such a small place. You can be anywhere in 15 minutes.
I love Midtown.
Yeah. Anywhere you want to be in our county, really, you can be there in 15 minutes if you're living in Midtown.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to find great opportunities, but if you can.
The rental opportunities are tough. Right? Duplexes are more, relevant in this area than they are triplexes. We'll see some quads. Now, you're going to pay through the nose for that.
Yep.
You see a quad in Midtown that's brick. It's a $300,000 to $500,000 property. Of course, you can rent those for $800 to $1,000 a piece.
Yep.
But it's just a little bit different thing.
Yeah.
Multifamily, if you find an 8-unit or you find a 10-unit, it's going to cost you to do that.
But it's a great, if you can find find an opportunity for you that looks good. I like 104.
I do too.
Overton Park, the zoo, they're again, the medical center. They are pumping hundreds of millions of dollars into that area for organizations and properties and institutions that are going to be here for a long time. So I feel very good about 104.
I do too. If my wife and I go to dinner, if it's a casual dinner hanging out, we go to the Overton Square.
Yeah, Overton Square.
It's an awesome little pocket that we enjoy being
Agreed.
around. So if you translate that to tenants and ownership and what people are looking for, the Midtown area can be great.
Absolutely.
You just got to find the right property there.
Yep.
I think that's it. I put Millington, but we're going to cover that with our northern. So today was let's kind of a recap. We covered some tough zip codes, 38122 Berkeley and 38111.
Yep.
And then what we just talked about, Midtown
104.
38104. I do think you can find some opportunities there.
Yes.
I think you should proceed with caution even in those three.
Yeah.
There are several here that we said no-nos for sure.
Yeah.
I'm definitely telling you no on 38106, 38126 are my no's. I can say I can look in the camera and say
I will never buy a property in those zip codes. Why?
Yeah.
There's
and
too many opportunities elsewhere. There are lots of,
and you know me, I don't usually, hold back on my verbiage. And I don't want to, if you have one in those areas, I'm not telling you that it's doom and gloom.
Oh, I have.
And I'm the worst guy.
So I have owned in those areas. So I have owned in every zip code we've ever talked about.
Yeah. And I have not. And for the reasons why this is trickling down to you guys from me. I learned from him. And I hear what you've done and do. And
spreadsheets look great.
The spreadsheets are killer in these areas. I mean, you look, if I showed you that, I could sell them to you all day long. It's fool's gold. You're going to get in there. You're going to realize in a few short months that this was not it.
How do you know a roof takes 3 years worth of rent? Unless it's happened to you before. Exactly.
And
that's
I'm not
how you
laughing
find
at you.
out.
I'm laughing with it. It's because man, I don't care how many houses you own. I don't care how many real. That's painful, bro.
It's painful.
That is to go through that into just watch money fly out the window. Like, what? It's not an exercise.
The good, and the good would subsidize the bad. So it's like, man, that if you have a portfolio, you can kind of stomach it. But I can't imagine if you didn't have a portfolio, if that was, a 2, 1, 2, 3, you're feast or famine, and
you'll be out of it quick.
You'll be out of it quick.
Guys, I appreciate you tuning in today. Our zip code breakdown is one of our better shows. We send it out to the most clients. It's most requested, and it's free. And we're not selling T-shirts and hats on here. So that's one thing I do love. I was like, we're really talking about the city. It's not a self-promotion thing. So I'm hoping you guys are enjoying it. Thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it. 2 weeks, guys, we're going to come back and do the last part of the zip code breakdown. We're going to do Raleigh, Frazier, Bartlett, Cordova. We're going to redo those areas. So looking forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Thanks again. Okay. All right. See you guys then.
Bye.